Hello guys, U-Tank99 here and welcome to my NRL tips and predictions for round 4 of the 2023 NRL season. Yes, I'm wearing the exact same thing from yesterday's video. It was filmed immediately right after, so without further ado, just get straight into the tips. Opening match of round 4 on Thursday, and it is the Battle of Western Sydney. All quiet on the Western Front. Wiki Wild Wild West. Whatever you want to call it in terms of this match, but it's of course the Parramatta Eels up against the Penrith Panthers, the first meeting since the grand final of last year. And boy, it's currently different sides of the coin for both teams. Obviously, Parramatta are currently 0-3 to start the season, whilst Panthers are 1-1, but are also coming off a bye in round 3. So, gotta say, there's gonna be a lot of pressure currently on Parramatta. Obviously, in terms of the regular season, they've actually had the upper hand over Penrith. But with Penrith Panthers, obviously, a little bit of a diminished team, but they're still looking the goods at the moment, obviously them beating South Sydney. And when it comes to this game, I just got to say, I think Penrith are just going to win this game. It's just, I think the Eels are going to be 0-4, unfortunately. I just think that unless something like happened last time when they were at CommBank Stadium where Nathan Cleary got sent off, it'd have to be something like that for Parramatta to win this game. But I'm just going to say that Penrith will take the win at CommBank, and it will make the Parramatta Eels 0-4. Now we go into the first game on Friday, and it is of course the Melbourne Storm up against the West Tigers. West Tigers coming off almost a monumental comeback against the Bulldogs last round, but unfortunately the deficit was too much and the Tigers still ended up with the loss. And the Storm ended up taking a loss as well in a very high scoring match against the Gold Coast Titans. So both teams are a little bit weird at the moment. It's obviously Melbourne are currently on a 2-game losing streak. The Tigers haven't won a game yet this season. And it's all going to be coming down into Melbourne. And I don't know why, but watching the comeback from the Tigers kind of sparks something in me. Like, if they really tried, they could end up beating some teams. And I don't know if this is going to sound stupid or not. Probably will. But my prediction for this match is the West Tigers to beat the Melbourne Storm. Have Melbourne on a 3-game losing streak, which I don't think has happened ever. I'll probably put down when that last happened. I don't know. I mean, I would say probably even the spoon, but you know, they probably still would have made the top 4 if they didn't get the salary cap done. But yeah, I just think the Tigers can come into this game. It'll be very close. I guarantee it's probably going to come down to a field goal, something from like Luke Brooks or String Bean Adam Dewey. It's going to be a very close game. I don't even think it's going to be that much scoring. It's going to be like a 13-12 kind of scenario, kind of like the Penrith Broncos game back in round 1. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Tigers to win this game. Now we go into the final game on Friday, and it is, of course, the biggest game of the season so far. It is second versus first. It is the redacted Dolphins up against the Brisbane Broncos. Both teams undefeated. Doesn't get bigger than this. It'll either be the Broncos trotting, because it actually makes sense because they're horses. I don't know why the Bulldogs do it. Or the Dolphins with their things. I genuinely can't do it, seriously. I would much rather high-five a moving train. But obviously, both teams undefeated, hyped up, going to be one of the best games of the season. For me, it's weird because obviously the Dolphins played against my Knights last week. I don't own them, but I'm a supporter. The Dolphins weren't that great. Yes, they did end up winning and running away with it right near the end, but that was against the Knights team that had a few key players out. Brisbane obviously had a very decent win last week as well, going off against the St George Illawarra Dragons. For me in this game, I have to stick with technically the old boys of Queensland, and I'm going to say that the Broncos will win this game. Now we go into the first game on the Saturday, only one of 2, so with no 3 PM kickoff, they will be going straight to 5:30. It is the North Queensland Cowboys up against the Gold Coast Titans. I hope there isn't Instagram stories after this one. Obviously, the North Queensland Cowboys coming off a loss to a very resilient New Zealand Warriors team at home. Cowboys have just been rather weird so far. as you see in the last couple of rounds, almost blew it against Canberra in round 1. Got manhandled in the second half against Brisbane. And now coming off a loss against the Warriors. Titans have been looking alright so far. They're 2-1 for the season. They are coming off a very high scoring game against the Melbourne Storm. This is weird. I feel like when it comes down to these types of games, it's probably, you got obviously, because it's like it's 2 Queensland teams. They're all going to come out and want to win this game, so form may not really have a factor. But for me, in terms of tipping, I think it is, because it's actually interesting. Because I'm looking down at the tips here, and it's the Cowboys are favourites going into this game. Well, I'm certainly not buying it. I think the Titans will take the game there. Just hopefully no flame war start. Just hopefully none of that happens. I mean, yes, do it, but just, get the social media clicks going, but could be not. Basically, I've lost it. Now we're going to the final game on Saturday night. It is the South Sydney Rabbitohs hosting the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Gonna be a very interesting game. This, obviously, South Sydney coming off a very close loss to the Roosters, and Manly coming off 2 wins from 2. Obviously, at the break in round 2, and they're actually looking rather alright so far, Manly. This is kind of a game where you probably would expect like Latrell Mitchell to like really kick it up a notch and do well in this game, but I don't know. It's hard to tell because Manly also do look alright. It's hard to say from a viewer. This is a game, one of those games, even though the betting odds look rather on different sides, but this is definitely one that can very much go either way. I'm probably going to follow the betting market. I will say that South Sydney will win this game, but very much would not be surprised if Manly continue with their current run of form and take this game out as well. Now we go into the first game of this Super Sunday or whatever. As at 2 p.m. our time, 4 p.m. over the ditch. It is, of course, the New Zealand Warriors up against the Canterbury Bulldogs. The Warriors, absolute amazing landmark win against the North Queensland Cowboys up in Townsville. Bulldogs did have a win against the Tigers last week, but almost blew it. And that's, for me, the key thing that's going to be a bit of an issue for the Dogs. Obviously, Dogs' last away game, they just took Melbourne completely out of the game. But I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder to do when you're in New Zealand. And by the way, honestly, I do see the New Zealand Warriors taking this game out. I feel like, the betting market is very close. It's like $1.89 to $1.91. It is, you couldn't get tighter if you can. But I do think the Warriors will take this game out. I think we probably will follow the betting market rather being like extremely close. But it could be a game where, if the Bulldogs just shut them out really early, could see them getting a win as well. So, you never know. Now we're going to the 4 p.m. kickoff, and it sees the Newcastle Knights taking on the Canberra Raiders. Obviously, the Knights actually did very well in the circumstances last week as they took on the Dolphins, still in a losing effort by 16 points. Canberra, in a very close game against the Cronulla Sharks, took I think it was a 2-point win. Might have been 4. I don't know. I don't do research. Against the Cronulla Sharks. The thing that I'm trying to figure out is how is the Knights' backs going to go? Because Canberra, I think, have got one of the most underrated forward packs in the com. They've got a very good one, to say the least. Not completely sold so far on their backs yet, but I feel like this can be a game where Canberra can dominate and just like run roughshod and not really have the Knights being a factor. I know the Knights might get 1 or 2 of their players back, but honestly, by the way things are going, I'm probably going to have to say that Canberra will take this game out in complete honesty. And now we go into the final game of round 4, 6:15 on Sunday. It is the St George Illawarra Dragons up against the Cronulla Sharks. Dragons have been showing a lot of promise, obviously, since, everyone's told them that they're going to get the spoon. Obviously, having a win against the Titans, but having a sizable loss against the Broncos. Cronulla have also been a bit, not shaky. They've done fairly well so far. Lost to South in round 1. Pitt Parramatta in a close game. And then lost to Canberra in a close game. So pretty much all of the games for Canberra have been, not Canberra, but the Cronulla Sharks have been relatively close. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be like that again between the two teams. But I do really see the Sharks pulling the game out. I don't know, I still think the Sharks have got that enough quality to get them through, which I feel the Dragons don't really have. I'm not saying they don't have quality, I'm just saying I don't think that the Dragons have the quality to match, the Cronulla Sharks. I don't think Cronulla really lost anyone, but I think Cronulla's momentum is going well. And if they're having close games against teams that are likely to do well, then against the team that a lot of people predict to not go well, they should be fine. Anyways, that is going to be the end of my tips and predictions for round 4. What do you guys think? Who are you tipping? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much all for watching, and I will see you all later.